It's time to hit the track then, as we embark upon another thrilling round of Formula One racing at the Algarve International Circuit. Welcome to the Portuguese Grand Prix. 2.9 miles of track at Portimao feature 15 turns, 9 to the right and 6 to the left. A lot going on at this track, a lot of elevation changes that'll affect the driver's braking and acceleration. Keep an eye out for the DRS zone on the final straight. That'll be the setup for a lot of today's overtaking opportunities.
All right, welcome everybody. I hope you enjoyed that little intro. Unfortunately, it's just me tonight, no Sam. Sam has got some sickness in his family. Absolutely dying of a cold, I think, or his daughter is anyways. So you've got just me tonight. We are at Portugal for our second exhibition race in F1 West. The drivers are just started qualification now, and nobody out on track just yet. With Sam missing, I hope you enjoyed that track introduction by my good friend David Croft, as he gave an overview of what we're in for here at Portugal tonight. Bear with me as I get a couple things set up here. Last minute. All right. We have a few drivers out on track. Bye, heading out there now. Everybody going to be on soft tires for qualifying. A short qualifying session. And then we've got a 50% race, which I believe is 33 laps at Portugal. Really short laps here at Portugal. Some of these fast guys, I imagine, are going to be in the 116s, maybe even some of them breaking into the really high 115s. Does anybody have a 115 tonight? That track map on. And it looks like Ross Dramas is first out on track. As he comes up the hill through turn 4, heads down that first little straight, it's going to open DRS and have a run down to turn 5. Bit of a tricky spot here with turn 5, got downhill braking into a pretty tight little corner, and then back up the hill he goes. Rounding through turn 6, quick turn 7, and then the ever challenging turn 8 of Samsung. Up and over the hill, down through 9. And you got this double apexing corners of 10 and 11 where you head back down the hill. Oh, and looks like he might have been out, but maybe still within track limits. Into the tight 13, 14, and now around corner 15. Flat out from here. Up the hill, a little bit of DRS before the line, and Ross puts in a 117.9. Good first lap, track's still pretty green, going to be a lot of rubber to go down still. Phoenix with a 118.4. Let's have a look at Makados coming around to finish up his lap. Coming through the final corner, up the hill, across the line. He'll slot in to P7 with a 120.966. Oh, we got Chris coming up to finish his lap. He's out on a set of mediums, which is an interesting choice. Maybe going to save a couple sets of softs. We are in just one qualifying session in this league. We don't run three. Just a single short qualifying session, which is 18 minutes. But a strategy nonetheless. So if you do 3 laps and use 3 sets of soft tires, that does leave you a set short for the race. So using a medium to maybe set a banker is never a bad idea. Jump on board with Scarenzi as he goes for his first lap. If you weren't with us last week, Scarenzi was absolutely rapid and was putting in crazy sector times around Paul Ricard. Let's see what he can do here in Portugal as he goes down into through turn 5. Up the hill. Dips down the hill through turn 9, up through turn 10, 11. Tricky corners. You're kind of braking and cornering at the same time before diving back down the hill. Very well within track limits there. Sets a purple second sector, so off to a good start for his first lap. Rounding the last couple corners now, 14, and then flat out through 15. Up the hill, across the line, and Scarenzi goes P1 with a 116.5. Really good time there. He's got himself over a second gap to Bucky in P2. Raylander looks like he's getting started on his first lap. He runs now down into turn 3. Lagos. Very tricky coming through 3 up through the hill over 4 onto this straight. Really hard to get the throttle down and maintain traction. He dives down into turn 5. Looking pretty tidy so far. Nice apex. Good use of track limits. Up the hill he goes through 6 and 7. And let's see how he takes on turn 8. Looking great down the hill through 9. 10 and 11. Holds it within limits there. Looks like he's got his teammate Bob Phoenix in tow. Let's see if we can get a little shot there. Onboard cameras seems to be giving us lots of rear wing cam today. Well, let's jump back to TV cam as Raylander finishes up his lap through 15 up the hill, out of battery right at the end. That puts himself into a comfy P5. The drivers still yet to put a time are Physics and Slurp. Physics might be disconnected, showing grayed out here in our driver listing. And Slurp still in the pits, yet to go out and put in a time. It's a good job by Raylander there, getting off the track, making sure not to impede any other drivers. A lot of drivers back in the pits. Do we have who we got going out? We got Simply Easy out on not a quick lap. Battery flashing. Onboards aren't super helpful in this session. Ferrari slowing down. He's sitting in P6 with a 118.4. Bucky on his out lap, his first lap, a nice 117.628. Bucky rounds 14, gonna swing it through 15, wide open, ERS enabled, and here he goes on his next flying lap. Really quickly through turn 1 and turn 2, but then hard onto the brakes into turn 3 here. Let's see how he does with traction up the hill through turn 4. Looking tidy so far. Good use of track limits again there. Really clean through 5. Really maximizing that track space right out to the line. 6 and 7 always pretty easy, but then up the hill through 8. Looks good. Down the hill. And around. Two tenths up after 2 sectors, so he is looking to improve. Let's see what he can squeeze out of the final sector. 3, see if he can bring it down to the low 117s or maybe 116. Approaching another driver here, was able to swing out of the way. Across the line, he improves to a 117.2. Good lap from Bucky. Let's have a look at Wild Ranger. Wild Ranger in a reserve role this week. Both of our Mercedes drivers not able to take their seats this week with both Goggy and Lamb out. I've got more on a little feature with Mercedes after qualifying. I had a chance to go down to the pits, wander around, and grab myself a set of keys for the Mercedes and put in a little hot lap. Looks like Wild Ranger either bowed out or was done on that lap. And let's have a look at Dark Canuck. Dark Canuck is another reserve sitting in this week, again, in one of the Mercedes. Getting out of the way of maybe Ferrari and Ross, it looks like there. Vi out on his third lap on the same set of softs here, but still improving. 3 tenths up through sector 1, around corner 5 and up the hill. Oh, swings a little wide and unfortunately invalidates his lap there. Curious to still see Chris out on medium tires. Put 4 laps into those tires. Imagine that he's probably going to come in. I would think he's going to slap on a set of softs and go for a quick lap in the last 4.5 minutes. Got a couple driver fans in the chat here. Mother Ellie says, go Scarenzi. Yeah, Scarenzi was, if you watched last week, was a force to be reckoned with. Pretty dominant. Good racing amongst the top 4 there for most of the race, and came away with it. Scarenzi is a full-time driver in our F1 East division, so just a reserve here in F1 West. Chunky boy rooting on Slurp. Let's have a look and see how Slurp's doing. Still in the pit, no laps. I don't know if we've got connection issues or what's going on with our friends Physics and Slurp. Still no laps to be put in by either of those drivers. Keep an eye to see if they come out, put on any laps. Let's have her on board with Honda-holic. It's like Honda's best lap so far is a 118.1. Let's see when they comes through sector 2. He is almost 2/10 up, so looking to improve. If he does, pop him up maybe a couple of places here. Really tight between Raylander Dog and Honda-holic. Only a few hundred separating those three drivers. Honda rounding turn 15. Flat out through here. Up the hill, across the line. And he does not improve. So I don't know if it was invalid there at the end or if just a bad sector 3. But he stays in P9. Have a look at Simply Easy, who's another driver kind of amongst that middle pack there that are all tightly bunched time-wise. I must say in the league this year, in this season, we've got a really nice grouping. No major gaps. Really tight racing, which is always good. Makes the come race time actually really fun. A little bit of lost control there for Bob Phoenix. All right, we are heading into the last minute and 20 of the qualifying session here. See who's going to get in for some final laps. Who do we have coming up to the line next? We have one of the Haas cars. Let's jump on board with Chris. Chris did slap on a set of softs and is now out on a push lap. Runs down that first straight, opens DRS down into turn 5. Looks up the apex nicely. And up the hill he runs through 6 and 7. Up through turn 8, which if you didn't know is called Samsung. I don't know why, but that's what it's called. Chris having a pretty good lap here, up almost 3/10 on his previous time. This would bump him up the order if he can continue to improve through the rest of the lap. That is the end of qualifying, so drivers still on hot laps do have a chance to finish up. Cross the line for Chris, and he remains in P10. Let's have a look at Dog. Dog's still early on his lap. Bucky Bit's coming to the line now. He finishes. He stays in P3. Scarenzi. Up the hill, across the line. Puts it into the 116.2. So fast, so fast. Great lap. Everybody else finishing up. Ross is not going to cross the line. That leaves possibly no. Sisterly is done. Dark Canuck. Oh, we have a little bit of contact there between two drivers. And that will end our Canucks lap. And that is our drivers done, I believe. Everybody else is either retired in the pits or across the line. So a qualifying session finishes with Scarenzi P1, Ferrari P2, Bucky P3, Bob Phoenix P4, Ross in P5, Simply P6, Dog in P7, Raylander P8, Honda in P9, Vi in P10, Chris in P11, Sisterly P12, Wild Ranger P13, Dark Canuck P14, Macados in P15, and then we have Physics and Slurp finishing up in P16, 17. But neither of those drivers took laps. Neither of them posted a time. I'm not sure if we have connection issues or if those two just feel like trying to go from last to first in this race. Guess we will find out. Well, there you have it. There are your drivers. There are your times. Scarenzi with a blistering 116.2. These top, basically from P2 right down through, oh geez, P7. There we're got only a second separating, about 10 guys here. It's going to be super good racing, super fun. All right, well, these drivers are going to take a little bit of time when they get to the grid to get their setups ready, their tire strategies set, and prepared for the race. And while we do that, or while they were waiting for them, I had a chance to hop in a Mercedes for a little hot lap myself. So let me take you through the track at Portugal, give you a little introduction, and show you the corners and talk you through a lap. All right, let's hop on board for a hot lap around this beautiful circuit in Portugal. As we approach turn 1, we've got DRS open down the hill into this very high speed first corner. We're going to drop a couple of gears, flat out through turn 2, but then hard onto the brakes into turn 3. Now coming out of turn 3, it can be so hard to find traction, so we're going to ease it up over the hill of turn 4, open DRS, and head down towards turn 5. Now turn 5 is so tricky. We've got downhill braking zone. It's so hard to get the car slowed down to turn into this apex, and then on the exit, we're pointed back uphill, running towards turn 6 here, then through turn 7, but now we've got the very difficult corner of turn 8 where we've got braking and turning and transitioning uphill all at once. It's so hard to keep traction there. Back down the hill through turn 9, and at the top of the hill again here we have turns 10 and 11 of Portimao. Another very difficult series of corners because we're braking and turning at the same time. We fly through turn 12, hard under the brakes into this hairpin of turn 13, and after 13 we just have a very short run to 14, quick stab of the brakes, but then so importantly you want to get that throttle down as quickly as you can because we are now flat out through the rest of this lap. We have this long right-hander of turn 15. We're going to punch up the hill, open DRS, cross the finish line, and that, my friends, is a lap at Portugal. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed that. The drivers didn't take very long to get ready. Looks like somebody might have readied up a little bit earlier than they should have. But the drivers are out on their formation lap now. Yeah, I have to say it was pretty fun to get back in the F1 car again. I haven't played the game in quite a while, and it took a little longer than I thought to knock the rust off, but was able to set a PB there or here on Portugal that I haven't been able to touch for a while. So yeah, really fun. It was different. I don't ever drive the Mercedes, but figure I'd give a different car a try through time trial there. Time trials times usually not respective of what we see in these races. I was able to put in a 116.19 there, but not something I don't think I would be able to replicate in a qualifying session here in the race. So anyways, as drivers kind of run through the rest of their formation lap here, we've got a 33 lap race around this super nice circuit in Portugal. This it's a tough circuit, this one. It's we'll see how drivers do with tire strategies. This is a circuit that is pretty demanding on tires. It got a lot of high speed corners, constant turning, very little relief for tires in general here. Bit of an abrasive surface, so I don't expect really to see too much strategy other than a medium hard or a hard medium. You might get a couple drivers here starting on softs, just to maybe get a jump, make some early positions, but that's likely going to have to be a two-stop race if you're going to start with a set of soft tires. We have the last couple of drivers coming to the line now. And everybody is lined up. Oh, no, we still have one out. This may be a formation lap bug. This does sometimes happen. Either Raylander wasn't able to get started at the beginning, or when he got back, it made him go again. Raylander says in stream chat, Mayday, Mayday. Yeah, not sure what's going on here. Just checking our league chat, and looks like we might have a bugged lobby, but we'll wait for the race director to make a call. Not sure if we're going or what's going on here. Nope, we are definitely broken. I will be back momentarily. Please bear with us. All right, everybody, I'm going to flip it back to the just the starting screen here. It's going to be a few minutes before we get the lobby back up and running. It's definitely bugged there, so our race director has to restart, get the grid set. It's going to take probably a good 15 minutes or so before everybody's back on and we are ready to go racing. So I'm going to step away, take a break, and I will be back with you just before they get going. All right, we are back. Lobby has been reset, the grid has been re-racked, and we are ready to go racing. Fortunately, this happens from time to time. This happened to us last year at the Vegas track. Exact same bug during formation lap. Sometimes one driver gets to go and nobody else does. It's really weird. Anyways. Thankfully, that wasn't too long. Bit of a delay and time to go racing. All right, we are back, set up, and ready to go. So, going to be a few minutes here before drivers head out on formation lap again. Drivers have been instructed not to hit ready up this time, not to hit start race. The reason we have that rule in this league is just because it can take a bit of time to set your strategy, pick your tires, make any minor adjustments that the game allows under Parc Fermé, which I think is a bit of front wing, and then just tire pressures. But some people like to make those changes between qualifying and race. If you're watching on stream, who do you have your money on? Who's going to win it? Got a very fast Scarenzi in P1. We also have two very fast drivers who have decided to start from the back of the grid tonight in Slurp and Phoenix. How much progress can they make? We also have Ferrari T1, who had a wonderful qualifying in P2. Mother Ellie wants her man Scarenzi to take the W. It's good support there. Love to see it. Chunky rooting for his teammate Slurp. See how quickly Slurp and Physics can slice and dice their way through the field. Some good overtaking spots here at Portimao for sure. Typically don't see it down into turn 1 or turn 2. Turn 3 is a good spot. Sometimes you get a dive up the inside there. Get slow right down for turn 3. The straight and first DRS zone down into turn 5 can sometimes be a good spot, although it's a pretty short run, and it can be, unless you're really tight coming up the hill through turn 4, it can be hard to get a move done there into turn 5, but if somebody's brave on the brakes, they might take a lunge up the inside there. Where else? The rest of the track isn't too easy. I mean, you're probably going to see lots of overtakes on the main straight itself because it is such a long run. The slipstream in this game is so strong, and if you're within DRS range, you get that wing open, you're probably going to get the move done even before turn 1. Here we go. Drivers lined up on the grid. Let's try formation lap again. Out front, Scarenzi. Just a reminder, we'll give you the order in case you're just joining from missed qualifying. Scarenzi had a blistering time, almost a full second gap on P2 of Ferrari T1, and then really close to the rest of the field. Bucky Blitz in P3, Bob Phoenix in P4, Rostodramus P5, Simply Easy P6, Dog in P7, Raylander in P8, Honda Holic in P9, Vi in P10, Chris in P11, Sisterly in P12, Wild Ranger P13, Dark Canuck in P14. It'll show disqualifying there sometimes just due to errors in formation lap, but he will start on the grid, not disqualified from the race just yet. Macados in P15, Physics P16, Slurp P17. That is our starting order as we wait for drivers to round the course. Get back to the start finish line. Number of drivers have already disqualified themselves from the formation lap. This typically happens with contact, so this will be a reminder to drivers that as you're doing your formation lap, leave lots of space. No need to be right on the rear end of the car in front of you, and to also drive a nice steady consistent pace. No need to go fast, no slow, no stop and goes. Keep it steady. Scarenzi on mediums. Ferrari's on the softs. That'll be interesting. See if he can make an early move, maybe, or to hold off cars behind. Bucky also on a set of softs. Bob Phoenix on softs. We have a number of drivers on soft tires here. Ross on softs. Simply on softs. Unless this game's just bugged and it's not showing me the proper tires until we get going, because everybody seems to be, man, from 2 to 9, all on soft tires, and then by on the hards. This will be fun. Drivers line up to the grid. Last couple creep on into their spot. And we have green flag. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 lights. They are out, and we are racing here at Portugal. Scarenzi's got a great start off. Gonna get into turn 1, no problem. As we look at the rest of the field, oh, we've got a few contacts, a spin there from, looks like Raylander dropping down. Or nope, sorry, that was Bob Phoenix dropping down the order. Got some good battles here on the first lap, which is what we expect. Down into turn 5, Raylander takes the inside line. Simply gets the switchback done, and up the hill we go into turn 6, then through turn 7. And as we run into turn 8, what kind of action do we have here up the hill? That's Dog getting a little sideways, coming up through the tricky turn 8 of Samsung. Looking down the rest of the field, we have some big moves already. Slurp already up 7 spots. Bob Phoenix on the unfortunate loser so far in this race at either contact or a spin through turn 1 or turn 2, and has lost 10 spots down to P14. Let's have a quick look at Scarenzi out front, already well ahead of the rest of the field, with a 1.2 gap down to Ferrari. Gonna set a nice comfortable pace there now. As we hop on board with Ferrari. He's got his teammate Ross Dramis right behind in P3, so Ross has made up a couple great positions since the start of the race. I'm not sure why the game is only giving me rear view onboards at this track. I can't say that I've had this before, unless there's something I can change as far as my settings go, but I don't believe so. If you think so, drop a note for me in the comment. But I'm pretty sure you can only change from TV camera to onboard camera, and you don't get to choose what the onboard camera is. Oh, Ferrari runs wide there. Jump on board with Ross to see what happened. And Bucky gets by as well. Some good battles here early on, just on lap 2, as the drivers round through turn 14, and will be flat out from here through to 15 and down the front straight. As a reminder, DRS does not open until lap 3. Let's have a look at the drivers on tires. So yeah, like I said, pretty surprising. I wonder if this was Drivers maybe not remembering to set their strategies after we reset the lobby or what, but that is a number of drivers on soft tires. I think it's going to be pretty hard to do a single stop strategy on soft tires. Good battles here at the front of the pack, all the way down. We got a lot of drivers really close. That's an interesting camera angle. As Bucky and Ross go side by side through turn 5, keeping it super clean through turn 6, through turn 7. Who's going to win out coming up through turn 8? Bucky goes around the outside. Looks like Ross probably backed out, which would be the smart move there. Turn 8 is not a corner you want to go wheel to wheel through with another driver. Through turn 9, 10, and 11. Down the hill. And depends how close you are. Sometimes there is a good opportunity for a lunge into 13, that tight uphill hairpin here. But looks like Bucky is holding a pretty steady gap. Ross running a little wide here. That's another thing we're going to find here at Portugal is that track limits is pretty tough here. Having driven the track a whole bunch today myself, I'm really struggling to get a valid lap in. As Ross runs up to the back of Bucky, Bucky is already out of ERS. We're start of 4 laps in, and he has already dumped his entire battery. That won't bode well for him since he was unable to break DRS from Ross. So all Ross has to do now is get nice and close through this lap, and I would say the start-finish straight is going to be his best opportunity to overtake Bucky. Let's have a look at some of the other drivers. Got some other close racing down here. Ferrari dropped back a couple spots, but still in the mix there behind Simply Easy. Simply Easy, unless he gets himself into DRS range of Ross, could be a bit of a target here in a lap or two. Raylander sitting in P6 with Slurp up to P7 now. P7 on those mediums and right up against Raylander. Slurp is likely going to have a pretty good run down the start finish straight, and I would imagine take the spot from Raylander before turn 1. One thing we don't know, we could know and could show you, but we'll keep it between the drivers at this point. We don't know how much battery any of these drivers have unless they're flashing. See a few flashing there. There goes Slurp with the DRS flap open, around, done before turn 1. And he is up to P6. Let's have another look down. Honda Holic in P8. Really close racing between these 3 cars as they round through turn 4 up the hill. Get a little short sprint of DRS here. Bit of a train. Don't know that there'll be an opportunity for anybody to make a move. So they're all getting the same amount of speed down that straight. Through turn 5, up the hill, we have Raylander running a little bit wide, and that earns him his first 3-second time penalty. So like I said, track limits here, pretty tough. It's hard to keep it between the white lines when you're racing this close to other drivers. Got an IRADS tuning in. Very late night for you out east, my friend. Yes, that is me. W on the comm tonight. Was supposed to be here, joined by Sam, but Sam has a very sick little one that he needed to tend to. So you just get to listen to me ramble on for the evening. Let's have a look at Dog. Dog is nice and tight now into Bob Phoenix himself. Looks like Bob has made a few places back up since his early spin. Dog holding DRS. Let's see if he gets any kind of move in before turn 1. Doesn't look like it. Slap that DRS shut through turn 1, turn 2, and they get hard onto the brakes into turn 3. This sequence of corners is always pretty tough coming through turn 3 up the hill through turn 4. It's so hard to keep the rear traction, unweight the car. It's really easy to spin the tires and lose control. Dog running almost a bit wide there. Good control to bring it back in. Dog has now dropped himself out of DRS range of Bob. Looks like Bob has picked up himself a penalty as well. See if we can see. Yeah, we got a 3-second penalties there for the teammates in Red Bull for track limits. We have another bump down the order here. We've got Physics made himself up to P11. So making some progress. Definitely not charging as hard as Slurp so far in this race, but looks like to be on a different strategy. Physics on those hard tires, probably going to try to make them run as long as he can. Definitely a strategy if you're starting from the back of the pack, slap those hards on, go as far as you can in the race, and maybe even finish up on a set of softs or jump off early for the mediums. Got ourselves another track penalty to Rostadramus for track limit violations. Take another look down. Oop, there we go. Chris is nice and tight on Phoenix. Either going to try to make a move or just being helped along through DRS. Also never a bad strategy if you've got a quicker driver in front of you, if you can hang on to that DRS train and help them pull you through the field. Definitely pulled that strategy myself. Chris a little bit of rear traction loss there coming out of turn 5 as he runs up the hill to turn 6 and turn 7. We're starting to get a little bit of separation with our drivers on the track now. Scarenzi's got himself a very comfortable lead with 6.5 seconds. Still Bucky Blitz in P2, and Simply Easy's made himself all the way up to P3, and Slurp now all the way up to P4. So Slurp has been charging hard since he started at the back of the grid in P17. So some big moves for Slurp. Let's see how he manages through the rest of the race. Curious to see what his strategy is, if he's on a 1 or 2 stopper. He's got Ross right on him into turn 1 here. Oh, and Slurp has lost it. I'm not sure if there was contact there or just a little too much curb. Slurp back on the track. Down to P7. So we've pretty tight racing in this group so far. The only driver within DRS right now is Raylander on Honda Holic. Let's have a look at that battle. Raylander has a look down the inside, but not quite enough room. He sees that Honda is out of battery now, though, and will look for the opportunity to make a move when the opportunity presents itself, most likely into turn 1. These drivers all running wide on track limits. I'm going to see probably more of these 3-second penalties pile up as we have 3 drivers at 3 seconds, and there's Raylander's second. That moves him to 6 seconds of time penalty now. Have a quick look at driver moves so far in the race. Biggest mover still Slurp with P10, which he just lost a few spots. Physics up 6. Biggest loser so far in this race, Bob Phoenix down 5. He's also recovered a few since he spun way to the back of the pack. Vi's lost a bunch of spots. He's down to P15. And Sisterly Cross looks like he's had some troubles as well with 5 spots loss. Let's have a look at some of the drivers on their tires. We're at 8 laps on those soft tires. Those start to be going away from their optimal performance now. So drivers on softs are now going to start losing a little bit of pace. You can take those soft tires, I would say maybe about 13, 14 laps before they're getting really difficult to drive on. But I would imagine with 33 laps to go, if you're gonna try for a 1-stopper, you're gonna have to push them at least that far or pretty close to, with 33 laps in this race. Let's jump on board with Honda Holic as he makes his way Raylander behind him, losing a little bit of traction, opening up the door for Slurp to take that spot back. As these drivers run through turn 15 flat out onto the start-finish straight. Looks like those 2 drivers behind, Raylander and Slurp, are side by side, still trying to battle it out. Big dive from Raylander, but backs out. Into turn 3. Up the hill through turn 4. Looks like we're going to see no DRS from Slurp. Must have lost it there in that battle with Bob. Bob Phoenix Raylander running wide again out of turn 5. Such a difficult corner to hold it. You got that downhill braking zone. Such a tight apex. Slurp is getting right up on the diffuser of Honda. Has a little peek on the inside, but will he make the move? Yeah. He's going to wait until he gets on the start finish straight, grab that DRS, and that should be a slam dunk overtake. There he goes by into turn 1. Nice clean pass. Good racing from those two. No other crazy close battles at the moment. Drivers all spread out a little bit on track. Closest battle at the moment still between Slurp Honda and Raylander. Looks like we've got our first pit stop. We've got Wild Ranger coming in for a pit stop. Let's see what he puts himself onto. He's on the hard tire, so that looks like he was on, what was he on before? Maybe softs. Can't remember if he was one of the drivers on softs or mediums, but anyways, he is now out on the hards. Actually, I have a few drivers that have made pit stops that I obviously missed that it happened. Ross out on mediums, Sisterly Cross on a new set of hards, and Dark Canuck on a new set of hards as well. So we see more penalties being trickled in here. Looks like Dark Canuck got himself a pit lane speeding violation. 3 and 5 seconds total there. A couple drivers now have received track limit violations twice in Bob Phoenix and Raylander. Had 4 drivers make a stop. And keep an eye on who'll be the next to pit. I imagine some of these soft tire drivers are feeling the pain. Probably looking at coming in soon. Let's have a check on Scarenzi out front in P1. As he makes his way through 10, 11. Downhill through 12, back up the hill. Tight hairpin of 13. As he makes his way up the hill and onto the start finish straight. Out for a nice Sunday drive is Scarenzi. Not being challenged this race, but mistakes can happen. Bucky Blitz still in P2. Holding onto that spot pretty comfortably now. 11 seconds back from Scarenzi. Simply Easy still and hovering in that kind of 2-second range behind Bucky. Hasn't been able to pull himself into that DRS window yet. Got a couple more drivers in the pits. Honda and Raylander. Raylander coming out on a new set of mediums. Still only getting rear wing cam? We are still only getting rear wing cam. All right, having a look at Ferrari T1 sitting in P4. Slurp in P5, now within DRS range. Slurp and Ferrari both yet to pit. Actually, all of our front runners have yet to pit. There they go now. Slurp was maybe going to go, but decides to take a lap out on his own. Slurp now kind of in no man's land as now we start to see drivers cycling through their pit stops. We look a little bit further down. Got Dog in 8th place with Bob Phoenix hot in tow. Again, both those drivers yet to pit. Honda Holic coming out of the pits, slots himself into P9. On a fresh set of mediums. And not a lot of ERS left. We've got a tight battle in this little grouping here between Ferrari, Honda, and Raylander. As Raylander makes a dive down the inside of turn 5, can't quite hang on, runs wide, and these two are going to run side by side through 6, through 7, and hopefully one of them backs out before 8. And they did. Have a look at the track penalties stacking up. Raylander just hit himself another one there, up to 12 seconds in penalties. Got Dog with 6. Simply Easy with 5. That'll be a pit speeding penalty. Ross with the 1 set of track limit violation penalties. Same with Vi, Wild Ranger, and Sisterly. Take a look at the front. We've got Physics up to P3. This is sort of what we thought might happen. He's running on those hard tires. He's going to take him a lot longer than this. Punching in pretty good lap times. Looks like Physics' last lap time was a 121.0, which is still up there, running the same pace as most other drivers on the grid. Some of the drivers just out on fresh tires have just pumped in a pretty quick first lap, but Physics still has a very good pace considering the age of those tires. So look for him to try and stretch his legs a little bit more before going in for a pit stop. Slurp has yet to make his stop. 22 seconds back from Scarenzi. Neither of them have stopped though, so that is a true gap between those two drivers. Slurp currently pushing in 122s. Scarenzi still last lap put in a 121.1. Renzi's still got a lot of pace on those medium tires, 16 lap old mediums. Slurp dives into the pits. We'll have a look and see what tires he ends up on. And that looks like a shiny set of hards to take him to the end of the race. We are on lap 17 of 33. Just past the midway point of this race. Oh, A little bit of contact between Slurp and Raylander as Slurp exits the pits, trying to get those hard tires fired up. Slurp has Honda hot in tow behind him on a 4-lap-old set of mediums. So it'll be already fired up in there, well within their working window. As I mentioned earlier in the stream, this track's pretty hard on tires. There's a lot of high-speed corners. Not a lot of let-up for the tires on this track. Slurp looks to go around the outside of Raylander here. Oh, and a little bit of contact between the two, but nothing major out of that one. Keep an eye on this battle. It's the closest battle on the track so far. Kind of between drivers that have all just finished pit stop. So we're now, everybody's pitted except Scarenzi and Physics, our 2 leaders, and and Makados in P16. So he is still yet to make a pit stop as well. These 3 drivers battle it out down this front straight, down into turn 1. Follow car of Raylanders. He circles through turn 3, up the hill through turn 4. And earns himself another 3-second penalty, unfortunately. Have to keep an eye on that. This, I mean, it's only at 15 seconds, but this game does not let you go past 30 before you are disqualified from the race. Raylander will be wanting to keep an eye on that also, just for track position. Currently, that's going to drop him back to around P11. Still a really close battle between these 3 cars here of Slurp, Raylander, and Honda. They're starting to separate themselves a little bit. Honda doing everything he can to keep himself within DRS range. As I say that, I believe he just slipped out right at the detection line. See if he gets that flap opened. He does not. Those cars are all separated now. Going to have a back look up at the front of the field as we have a just missed, but just have an overtake there. Bucky Blitz on those fresh mediums, overtaking Physics to take his spot back in P2. Scarenzi has now stretched his gap far enough that he has earned himself a pit stop without having to come out into traffic. So he's able to stretch those medium tires long enough that he's going to come out of the pits, hold his P1 position, and likely strap on with as many laps left, maybe a new set of softs. 13 laps to go. There goes the red wall tires, and out he goes. Well, that'll be a driver unlapping themselves. Scarenzi comes out of the pits back into P1, where he was when he went into the pits. We'll see what that gap is to Bucky once the game catches up. Looks to be around 10 seconds, which works with the approximately 20-second loss from the pit stop. Let's have a look at the rear view camera of Slurp's car. He's now got Ferrari hot on him in P6 on a fresh set of mediums. We haven't hit the crossover point where those cards will be faster than the mediums just yet. Ferrari hoping to keep in tow of the Ferrari. Have a further look down as we've got Honda Holic in P7 with Raylander in DRS range as they round through turn 15 now. Hit the start finish straight. Looks like Raylander just hung on to DRS before the detection line. Yeah, he did. He gets a good toe into turn 1. A little bit of curb for Honda Hollock as he runs through turn 1. On the brakes through turn 3 here. We have Rossajamas back in the pits. I don't know if we had maybe a bit of damage and decided to take a new set of tires, or if he was just on a 2-stop strategy. Screngy just sets the fastest lap of a 1:18.1 on the new set of soft tires. Physics still has yet to make a pit stop, running those hard tires now into the 21 lap range. Gonna have to make a stop, likely for a set of softs, sometime before the end here. Probably gonna drop him back to around P8 or 9, it looks like. Raylander back in the pits for a new set of softs himself. Not sure if he picked up a bit of damage or he was also on a 2-stop strategy. Two drivers who made 2 stops so far. Very close contact between Raylander and Dog there as Raylander exited the pits. Raylander trying to get these new tires fired up. As he runs down the straight, looks like we have a car either disconnected or possibly ghosted as a lapped car. We take a look at Dog. Having a pretty steady race. I don't think I've seen too many mishaps or driver contacts with Dog. Just cruising along here. In P11, a couple drivers in front of him still to stop maybe. Physics definitely needs to make a stop. Not sure he will drop that far back. As Raylander quickly gets those soft tires fired up, he has made a move on Chris. As Chris drops down to P10. Chris is going to stay in that DRS though, and try to get a move done maybe back before turn 1, and he does. It's a bit of good strategy there, possibly from Chris, letting Raylander get the pass done before the detection zone, but very quickly on those soft tires, Raylander gets the job done before turn 3. Good clean racing between those two. Having a look through the rest of the field, no real battles close just yet. A couple drivers all just teetering on that DRS range within that 1 second. Pardon me while I take a drink of water. Slurp makes a move on Simply Easy to move himself up to P3. Slurp is on a set of hard tires. Those are going to take him to the end of the race. And I think at this point, best he might be able to do is P2 if he can reel in Bucky Blitz, who's currently in P2 with a 6-second gap. With 9 laps to go. It's definitely within the wheelhouse of possibilities on track, the amount of time he can make up. If I have a quick look at my timing charts, you can see that currently Slurp is lapping in the 120s, low 120s. Right now Bucky's kind of in the mid 121, so if those are representative lap times of those drivers, it definitely puts Slurp within striking distance before the end of the race. Having a look through the rest of my timing charts, Raylander just set a personal best of a 119.9 on that last lap. He's on those brand new set of soft tires. We have Scoredzi, have a look there, see how he's doing on those new set of softs. Stretched his time out now from around 10 seconds all the way back to 22. So he is quick on those soft tires. He's lapping in the mid 119s. A couple close battles here between 3-4 and 3-4, and then maybe it looks like a couple lapped cars. Simply Easy trying to stay, or trying to either stay or get himself in that DRS zone. A Slurp help himself along up towards Bucky Blitz as well. Simply is currently running in the kind of mid 120, low 122s. So definitely trying to use the help of the slipstream and the DRS of Slurp ahead. But looks like he just missed out onto the start finish straight. Looking at drivers without penalties so far, we have your leader Scorenzi, who has not earned himself a penalty. We have Slurp not yet to receive a penalty, and Physics not yet to receive a penalty, as well as Chris in P11 without penalties. So those drivers looking just trying to have clean laps the rest of the race. Them not being penalized is going to help their positions at the end of the race. Bucky Blitz now has earned himself a 3-second time penalty, which means Slurp doesn't even have to finish ahead of him on track, just needs to get within that 3 seconds, and he's only about a second away. Having a look at drivers starting to kind of run through some lapped cars now. Physics just earned himself the fastest lap of the race. He's on those new set of soft tires. He put in a 117.8. So a very quick lap towards the end of this race on a brand new set of soft tires. And not a lot of other close battles on track at the moment. Everybody's sort of pretty spread out. Got some of the front runners starting to kind of go through lapped traffic at this point. Have a look here, some of our gaps to the leader, all the way down. Oh, we have a yellow flag. Where is that? That is a Haas coming through the last corner. Back going again. Back to green flag on track. Drivers the most spread out they've been all race. Everybody at this point with 5 laps to go, just trying to manage your tires, get them to the end, keep it within track limits, not to earn themselves any more penalties. Be really curious to see how the leaderboard finishes up once everybody's crossed the line and all the penalties have applied, as Dark Canuck earns himself another 3-second time penalty for track limits. If you were curious, in our league we do run strict rules in game. There is no margin for error when it comes to track limits. The way we race, trying to keep this league as realistic to F1 racing as we can. We have check back in with Slurp in P3. He's now closed that gap to Bucky down to 2.6 seconds. So he's earned himself P2 with once time penalty is applied, assuming he doesn't take one himself. But he will be hoping to get that move done on track. I could say from being a driver myself, it's never as fun to get the position from penalties in front. It's always more satisfying if you can earn that position on track from racing. Slurp will give what he has left here. Just needs to get into DRS range of Bucky. He's only 1.2 seconds away from that. Having a look at lap times. Bucky currently running in the high 122s and Slurp in the high 120s. I would overtake down the field between Raylander and Bob Phoenix. Teammates battling it out a little bit. Must have had a mistake from one of the drivers as Raylander runs wide and gets another 3-second time penalty. We have a yellow flag out. Looks like we have a Ferrari off. And is that? Ross. Something happened there. He is a DNF. Dark Canuck retired. Looks like those two maybe got tangled up somewhere on the track. Oh, and we have 2 more off. We have a safety car out with 5 laps to go. Now, what will happen? Will we see people make pit stops? This really just changed the whole game here. Scarenzi, who had a very comfortable 34-second lead, is now going to be going wheel-to-wheel racing with Bucky Blitz and Slurp right behind him on restart. The safety car this late in the race, we are probably only going to get 2 laps of racing. So we look at the leader rounding that final corner. See if he dives into the pits or if he stays out. Yes, pit stop it will be. Same with Bucky Blitz. Where is he and where will he come? Will he pit? New set of softs. Scarenzi. Bucky Blitz rounding turn 15, and we'll also dive into the pits for a new set of tires. Slurp into the pit for a new set of tires as well. Yeah, with this many laps to go and those old tires, this is definitely the move. The rest of the field is already boxed, it looks like, for fresh tires. We just wait for the cars to regroup before the safety car goes in. Now, the only thing that I think might happen here is we might get a restart before the cars are all grouped up, because this game, I believe, has to finish with 2 laps of racing to go. So we'll keep an eye on Scarenzi here and see what that gap looks like. He's quite far ahead still. Now caught up to the safety car, so he will be slowed. But I don't know if Bucky and Slurp are going to get to him before the car has to go in. This will be interesting to see. Yes, Goggy, Shades of Abu Dhabi 2021. Hopefully we have No, Mikey knows. No, Mikey, no. Safety car in this lap. Yeah, as I predicted. So I don't believe this is going to give Bucky and Slurp a chance to get close. Maybe just. Looks like they're just getting there now. Bucky Blitz has pulled himself in just in time. Slurp is just getting to that group now. And he made it. So we are going to have a battle with our top 3 drivers. They were able to pull together before the safety car was in. And we are back under racing. And Scarenzi puts a hammer down and away they go. Now we are not going to get DRS to finish this race. So after a safety car, you need 2 laps before DRS is open. Bucky Blitz makes a dive through turn 1, but cannot hold on to it. Scarenzi goes around the outside. Down into turn 3, hard braking. All 3 of these drivers nose to tail, up through turn 4, down the back straight. Again, no DRS for the rest of this race. Slurp trying to make a move on Bucky Blitz down into turn 5, gets it done. Slurp now has his eyes set on Scarenzi. Can he run him down to take the win? Neither of these drivers have time penalties, so this is a true battle on track. We have another yellow flag in turn 1. That is cleared. There will not be another safety car regardless of what that is. We're going to keep our eyes glued on the front of the grid here with Scarenzi and Slurp battling it out. Slurp is going to have to get this done with purely slipstream and better driving because we do not have use of DRS. If you're new to Formula One or just unaware, after a safety car, just kind of like the beginning of the race, it takes a couple laps. You get 2 laps before DRS is re-enabled, and we do not have that many laps left in the race. So we hop on board with Slurp as he chases down Scarenzi. Scarenzi already out of battery and flashing, so big deploy to start. Same with Slurp. Pretty fair battle going on between those front 2. Scarenzi up through turn 8. Keeps it nice and tidy. Holds a car down the hill through turn 9. He's going to run up into the Portimao corners of 10 and 11. Holds onto it down through turn 12. Back up the hill. Slowing it down for 13 around that tight corner. Quick stab of the brakes at 14. And back on the throttle. Will be flat out from here all the way to turn 1. He has pulled himself a 1.4 second gap to Slurp, which is far enough to kind of break the toe. He does try to step out, do some weaving, and across the line. That is the end of our race. Scarenzi in P1, Slurp an incredible drive from P17 all the way to P2. Bucky Blitz a good drive himself up to P3. Physics in P4. Ferrari in P5. The rest of the grid starting to cross the line now, but we are going to have to wait and see how penalties shape up. Honda-holic across. Raylander still in a close battle with teammate Bob Phoenix as they round turn 13 through 14 now, and they're going to have a run to the final straight, but I believe both these drivers have a good amount of penalties. This is just to settle it, who crossed the line first. And it looks like Bob Phoenix gets it done. Next we have Dog rounding the corner. He puts himself into P9 and bumps up. And that is the rest of the grid across the line. Well, that, ladies and gentlemen, was a good end to a race that started, that looked like Scarenzi was going to run away with it, or had absolutely run away with it. 30 seconds. And now with a finish in P1 with 1.4 seconds ahead of Slurp. Well, thanks for joining me. And hopefully next time I'll have my partner in crime, Sam, to join me and get a little bit more back and forth commentating for you guys. But congratulations to everybody who raced, and yeah, we'll possibly see you for the next one. If I can't be there, hopefully Sam can. Enjoy the celebrations there on the podium. So we have one more quick look at the finishing order. Scorenzi in P1, Slurp incredible drive from P17 to P2, Bucky Blitz in P3. Physics, good drive also himself from P16 up to P4. Ferrari, couple spots lost, down to P5. Simply Easy, P6. Honda Holic makes a couple moves up to P7. Bob Phoenix drops to P8. Dog finishing in P9. Raylander P10. Chris in P11. Vi P12. Sisterly P13. Macados P14. Wild Ranger in P15. And Rostodramus in P16, with Darkanuck bringing up the end of the grid, P17. Those last three drivers were DNF. Well, thanks for joining, everybody. That is it for me. I am signing off. Have a great night.